Guys, we're going to call it there. Can I ask you to gather over here at group number 1? George, can I ask you to take no more than 3 to 5 minutes as well, so we can push through this? Okay, take it away, George.
Okay, here's the 3 to 5 minute overview. The question that was posed was, how do you harness the disruptors? Okay, the starting point for us was we had 4 people in our group. The interesting thing is that when we asked the question, where do you intuitively start in addressing that question, we got 4 different intuitive starting points. One was start with the insurance expertise. Our second person said start with the technology expertise. Our third person said look to other financial sectors that have already been disrupted and learn from those. And the fourth person said, from a context of fintech, you need to be really good at finance and technology, both, to be good at fintech. So if you're going to do iTech, with apologies to Apple, you have to be really good at insurance and technology to be successful. So that was our starting point. And the reason why that's important is that we believe that the insurance disruptors, when you say how do you harness the disruptors, the first question should be, who are these disruptors? Well, these disruptors are coming from all 4 of these sectors. So then you get to the question of, and they're bringing their ideas. The next then logical question is, okay, what's your model of strategy for innovating or changing, given that, or how do you predict what these disruptors are going to be thinking about? Well, there's all these sorts of MBA class conversations about models of strategy for innovation and change, and we're not going there because that would take us way off topic. We're going back to the core question informed by this framework, which is how do you get into this? And we started with some sort of what I would call data points. You can read them here. One, it's hard to ever get a meeting with an insurance executive. Okay, obvious. Second, it's hard to get the language right. Don't assume it's easy. Third, it's very important to recognize this is a state-based insurance regulatory structure. That's a barrier to entry, but it's a lot more than that. And then it's hard for an established company to reinvent its corporate culture. Those are interesting data points, but all fairly conventional knowledge. We then asked ourselves, what's the fundamental question? The fundamental question for innovation is, do you apply external pressure or do you try to do internal change? And we tend to lean toward the finding small startups that's innovative, forcing the industry to follow, because we're feeling like it's too hard to change a big incumbent. Whether that's right or wrong, that's our feeling. So that was sort of the second step in our process. The third was we're saying expect new providers. If you're in the insurance industry and you're expecting disruptors, yes, you're going to get these startups, but expect new providers also, because this is a very important. Hedge funds, whatever, all this stuff we know that's coming in, and expect that they'll get expertise by hiring people from the insurance industry, so they're going to be pretty deep in this insurance side. So then we exit with the strategy of, if you have to compress this into a soundbite, into one single takeaway, what is that? And the first thing we said was, wait, we were uncomfortable with the word harness because, harness has some negative feelings to it. So is that the right word? And then one of the guys in our team said, well, wait a second. If you want a vocabulary, the question of harness, then just merge the two concepts and get past that word. You harness by partnering. So we feel that that's if you want to put it into a single elevator, one sentence, you harness the disruptors by partnering with them.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good. Who wants to talk us through number 2? Matt?
All right, I represent group 2. So, we were talking about, obviously, the question, how do you harness the disruptors, but we focus more about delivering disruption. How do you accomplish this? How do you actually do this? And how do you be innovative? And kind of to answer the question, it was really 1, simplification, and 2, delivery of data. I think someone brought up before about reaching the millennial generation and I hear tons of companies trying to answer this question every day. And if you really start with the why, why does the millennial generation have this different sense or different expectation of use of technology, interactions with business, media, etc.? It's because they have different options available to them, technologies, platforms, etc. And if they don't get what they're looking for, they'll just move on. And it really boils down to, first of all, user experience. User experience on a technical level, but also on an engagement level too. Right, the fact that in the insurance industry, what do people commonly think? Well, insurance is complicated. I don't understand it. I know I need it, but I don't understand how it works. Well, first of all, starting out to simplify it and simplify the way it's presented. Right, building out data tools to actually not only do analytics on insurance and risk profiling and so forth, but peeling it back and bringing that back to the customers, right? Actually, present them plans based on their data, their risk profile, show them what an insurance company is actually analyzing about them, right? And what is this truly? It's the delivery of actionable intelligence back to a consumer about them specifically. So you're creating a different level of engagement between the consumer, business, whoever, the customer, and an insurance company. What else can you do to incentivize this? Well, there's the idea of different service, a different level of service between an insurance company and its customers. Idea of like a frequent flyer program creates this service level incentives for customers to use an airline more. Or what about doing something similar with insurance, right? The idea, guaranteed SLAs on response and claims and so forth, access to other products if you're at a different level with an insurance company, hypothetically. Or what about simplifying the products an insurance company sells? Like, what if someone could just buy insurance and they just paid one monthly fee and it covered all the insurance they needed? And what also this would kind of create is an environment where, today you have agents and reps of insurance companies, but what about taking those agents and reps and using these data tools to make them trusted advisors and not just salespeople? So that's the essence of what kind of we discussed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Matt. Team 3.
I guess what we identified were basically two sectors that would harness the disruptors. With respect to regulation, we see that regulation and organization, they all mitigate risk. And risk obviously carries with it capital. Either capital comes in or capital goes out. We identified some elements under the regulation which were that could actually harness the disruptor would be in the sector of the price and product. Various different products that could be offered to clients or to companies. Pricing, of course, will have an impact as well. We discussed alternative risk management, and that led to this section right here with respect to the time scales for pricing. The identification of a market and what we felt were the alternative products that could be given at a specific time, whether winter, fall, spring, and what could that do in relation to also the time sensitivity, which is pay as you go. If you're traveling to another country or if you're interested in acquiring just some limited coverage for some specific entities, that this is a sector where we basically felt that could have the time scales and the time sensitivity with respect, of course, with localized for the New York, or in this case for the United States market. And the differences in that those two entities will differ tremendously in foreign markets because each foreign market is governed by different governing entities and different policies. In terms of the distribution, we basically discussed how the harness the disruptors. We felt that the licensing will be an issue. And once again, the licensing and the time sensitivity, which is the pay-as-you-go, will actually be impacted. And you can see that the flowchart basically demonstrates how we felt that disruptor will be harnessed. In terms of the organization, I think that Gary here will discuss it in that what we talked a little bit was about the capital management and the aggregating of all risk factors and the product regulation. And that what he was discussing was brainstorming with big data and historical data that does exist in many different organizations, the aggregation of this data, and I guess perhaps the normalization of the data to interpret, to see what this could actually do in relation to what kind of products we're offering.
So just to quickly kind of put a little color on this. This is sort of like a random idea that sort of we came upon in the very end. If you look at, and it's probably more of an opportunity than anything, what we felt is that there's an opportunity in terms of mitigating or insuring against kind of a holistic view of the enterprise. If you think about a company and all the things that it's dependent upon to be in business, from their call centers, from their supply chain, from their employees, from where they physically operate, from their property, from their plants, there's a tremendous amount of risks associated with their entire enterprise. So we felt, the opportunity could be of rather than insuring specific components or pieces, for a company or firm to come in using their data, right, to be able to actually look at all the different risk profiles, the risks associated with that, to be able to quantify that data in terms of how much it impacts the business, and then to be able to price insurance accordingly.
Okay, thank you very much, Guy. Thank you. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the session. I just wanted to get some feedback on this from you.